Hello, everybody. This is Phil Chenevert with Why Do We Say That? Words and phrases in our everyday language that we use, and we've forgotten the context. Well, the word today is derrick. I was watching a video last night. Wonderful. I watch these YouTube videos about container ships. I mean, they've got hundreds and thousands of these big, huge containers, and they kept referring to the derrick. They would pull up to a dock and they would pick up this whole container, put them in there, then put 50, 60, 100 of them in. So the word derrick, I got to thinking, you know, I bet you people have forgotten where that word came from. It's named after somebody, by the way, who's John Derrick. Oh, did he invent this? Now, when you think of a derrick, you think of a big thing with ropes and tackles and chains. I also think of an oil well because the derrick. Well, the original derrick was a block and a tackle, but it was used to hang people. It was a gallows. Yes. So it was kind of a sick humor. People would refer to that. Well, let me tell you the story. Okay. Back in 1596, the Earl of, I forget his name, what he was the Earl of, but it was an English Earl, Earl of Essex, yes. Sir Robert Devereux, sounds French, doesn't it? Um, and he went with other people. They made a raid on the port of Cadiz in Spain. Oh, they sank millions of tons of shippage. But Earl and his sailors, they took the time to, let's how we say, to raid the town. Yes, they raided the town. I guess pillage would be a word. Uh, so they did that. But on the way back, about 20 sailors were accused of uh, picking up trinkets and things that they found on it, and when they were going through the town, and they were condemned to death. Apparently, it was a bad thing not to take that, or maybe they just didn't share it with with who they were supposed to. So uh, they didn't like that. The sailors said that was ridiculous. That we're going to be hanged. I mean, that's part of. I mean, that's just a perk of being a sailor and fighting, and you get to pillage. Well, now there's another man named John Derrick, another sailor, who was also accused of what they were called outraging women. Now, you know what that means. He was raping and doing other things, whatever. He was outraging them. And he was accused, and he was condemned to being flogged round the fleet. Now, what that meant at the time was it was terrible. The fleet would be in port. They would uh, haul this man up by the wrists on one of the rigging, and they would use this horrible cat o' nine tails that would rip the back open, give him 20 lashes, and then while they were bleeding, they'd haul him down and they'd row him over to the next ship, and they'd do the same thing. They'd take him down, haul him over to the next ship, do the same thing. Usually they died. They didn't make it through because they would lose blood. And it was horrible torture. So anyway, but the sailors weren't happy with this thing of we just picked up a few little things. Why are we going to be hanged? Nobody would agree to do the hanging for the whatever, I guess the acceptable sum that was normally paid people to hang on ship. But John Derrick said, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll hang them all if you don't flog me around around the fleet. So apparently he was pardoned from that, and he did hang those people, those guys. He didn't care. But um, what that led to was he said, "Not a bad job." Uh, my God, anyway, he ultimately Derrick became the hangman of Tyburn. They say he hanged and beheaded over 3,000 people, and he had devised a block and tackle that would made the let the crowd see the hanging because the hanging was a big deal. Everybody would pack a lunch and go watch it, so they could see the hanging, and they could see everything, and they really enjoyed that. Apparently, he was a terrible. But that block and tackle and all the blocks and everything that he made came to be associated with lifting heavy weights. And so, yeah, out of sick humor, they would say, "Ha ha, that's a Derrick, a a Derrick came to be known as that type of thing." And uh, oh, by the way, a few years after this, the Earl of Essex, the guy that pardoned him, he was condemned to death because, yeah, I think he revolted against the government and tried to have a rebellion. And so John Derrick said he cut his head off. All right, he wasn't very good there. So that there you go. That's the story. When you say a Derrick, think about this bloody history. We call it that because John Derrick, the famous hangsman. That's it. This is Phil, and I'll see you guys later. I think.